Written in white on a red banner, wherever she goes, the sun follows.
My name's Rosângela Cavalcante Vasconcelos. I'm 58, mother of two of the most beautiful kids in the universe.
Rio de Janeiro, in a factory Rosângela sews. Rosângela Cavalcante, seamstress, talhos, Osclen.
I spent very little time with my mother, and we were young and the tiny house was made of thatch, with all that rammed earth, those bamboos. But it was nice. We were little. Everything was very funny. My nickname could have been Little Bit. There was this soap opera where the guy was called Little Bit. I used to be Little Bit with someone.
She gives her statement while behind a window in her home.
Little bit with another, little bit with someone else, you know? So I think that's why I can't say like, oh, I love, I'm dazzled. I don't know how to be like that, but I love what I do.
She's 59, has gray hair that is short and straight, and brown skin.
I'd spend some time with my aunt, some time with my grandma, a bit with my aunt from Realengo, whom I love so much, more than I can describe. And after her, after a certain age, I went back to my grandma.
Picture of her as a child.
And one of her sons, my mom's brother, my uncle as well, also moved in with her. Then my grandma, there was a house right beside. My grandma asked her neighbor, I wasn't aware of anything, asked for me to live there. Then I used to cry. I never forget that. My grandma used to hand me food over the fence, so they wouldn't have to pay for everything, right? She ended up having a misunderstanding with her neighbor. The neighbor's wife got jealous of me and I was thrown out. I called my sister and said, ask Lucio. He was my cab driver. And then he came to pick me up to the house of a friend from work who said I could live there.
Wooden shack.
I had never lived in a shack. I had lived in a thatch house, but never in a wooden shack. After I got there, my brother-in-law struggled to find a place. When he saw me, he asked, is this where you're going to live? And then I looked at him and said, well, what I'm supposed to do? Where I'm supposed to live?
Close-up of the sewing machine. Rosângela sews at home. At home, she wears no mask. At the factory, she does.
I don't know anything about my father. I've spent a few years with him. He even died by my side. I was responsible for his funeral. But he used to show up every 3 years, 2 years.
Picture of young Rosângela with two women.
I wanted to have my mom. I wanted to have my dad. Why does nobody love me? I used to think that I was neglected, you know? Ignored.
Picture of Rosângela's wedding.
I got married at the age of 19. Since my husband was very withdrawn, like Gabriel, my youngest, he's reserved just like him, very serious. I call him ogre. I said after 3 months of marriage, I'm going to have a baby. 3 months after getting married, I got pregnant with Thiago.
Picture of her pregnant.
Deep in my heart, I believe that my husband did me wrong. I already had those frustrations, you know? From my father, mother, my grandma. I carried a grudge against my grandma for sending me to live with neighbors. Then one day he showed up and said, I'm leaving, I'm not a good father, I'm not a good Christian. Everybody there was a Christian. I'm not even a good husband, so I'll go. I cried and said, I'm going to die. I want to die. All I wanted was to die. Just wanted to die. And what do I do to kill myself? I'd never know how it was to die. I want to die. Then I picked up 10 pill packs. 10. All I remember is the screaming, what have you done? Then my mother-in-law wanted to kill him, saying he was responsible. Then I was carried and taken to the hospital and called my sister Fatima, my middle sister. She went there with me.
Picture of Rosângela with curly, long hair.
God wanted me to survive. Then I realized that someone loved me. Inside my head, afterwards, I was like, why did I survive?
At home, Rosângela sews.
I got back on my feet.
Pictures of Rosângela with many people.
Got back for myself, for my kids, because I'm not all this crap that I thought I was. I'm not the weak person that I thought I was. I'm not the neglected person that I thought I was in the past. There are lots of people who love me, including this aunt from Realengo, the person who makes me feel loved the most, after God.
The end.
This girl has been through difficult moments in some stages of her life, and she's always been like that, joyful. Wherever she goes, the sun follows.
Her aunt smiles. At the factory, employees sew. Rosângela sews.
My story with sewing. My aunt was the one who put me in my first job. It was in finishings and stuff. And I'm very curious. I kept learning and enjoying more. And I never left this profession, you know? And I grew in my job. My story with sewing at first was in small factories, jobs that I searched for myself.
Picture of her young self working.
People would come to the factories. They used to see me working because I've always been so energetic. Then they'd offered me jobs. They'd wait for me at the door, asking how much money I made. They would offer me 50% more or double what I earned. So I'd go. I love sewing because people like it. But I'm not vain. For me, it's a gift from God, a talent and a gift. And God kept blessing me, building my character, teaching me.
Close-up shot of her sewing machine.
God's words say that I'm God's beloved child. Says that I'm precious, that I'm beautiful, that I'm loved. So today, that's how I think. Do you understand? If no one else agrees, I just don't care. I think that what inspires, what can be inspiring me for people, is the fact that I won, right? All these fights, all these barriers, but I've won. God has given me a chance, and I will be better. I will be greater, and I will help.